Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a last-minute fill-in, and I said yes, and I had to be at a board meeting, and I interrupted that meeting, left, and I'm nobody, but I broke all my rules to be here because it's so important for me to remember that I'm an alcoholic. I never want to forget. I broke my rules in business, not to pick up a check or inspect, because this is important. I was taught in Alcoholics Anonymous to say yes if I can, no matter what. So first off, I see my home group here every night Firelight, and I think Ben probably announced it, which is really cool because these guys are very special to me, and they're a big part of my recovery. And why they came, I don't know, but I can tell you this: it means the world to me because these guys and ladies have been a part of my life 5 years ago. I mean, my sobriety date is December 5th of 2018, and that's a miracle. I guess I'll start with real quick qualifier. Started drinking at 13. I vomited, I puked, I did it all over again. My first time drinking. Nasty, natural light, and I'm not even a beer drinker. I'm a whiskey kind of guy. Whiskey. And from 13 to 17, I lived a life of crime. And I came from a great family. Mom and Dad married 52 years. I was the kid that went to 4 junior highs, 4 high schools, got kicked out of every single one of them. I was the kid that Dad would drop me off at the car at the front of the school, and I'd be the guy going out the back door. Or I was the guy, if you left your keys in your car at 7-Eleven, I was taking your car and pulling up in junior high to try to fit in with my buddies to show everybody these neat cars that I was rolling in. I got caught for everything. Everything. The reason why I got into a life of crime, and what's sad is I stole from my family. And then it led to bigger things. And I didn't need to do that. But I did. I would write checks out on my dad's checking account. What a jerk. You know, I did that, thousands of dollars. My mom bought we lived on a school teacher budget. And poor, and I didn't even know we were poor because I was so loved. But I didn't know we were poor. They would try to live on the east side so that we could have a life. And they bought houses and lived mortgage poor and all that stuff. I didn't even know all of that. And my mom shopped at Nordstrom. She was a school teacher. And I found out something. If it's a year old, 3 years old, 5 years old, I can go into that closet and take what is it called? It was like a double something, duck something. And I could grab that. What a good guy. Go to Nordstrom's and say, I'd like to get my money back. Here's this 15, 16-year-old kid getting a $400 jacket that my mom couldn't afford. And I'm taking it because that's what my mom did. You know, she's a great woman. That's what she did. She worked hard. She could do whatever she wanted. And that would fund my alcoholism. And it would fund me paying for all my friends as well. And at about 17 years old, my brother took his ID. And I ended up in a place called Golden Fleece. And it's now Deuces Wild. And I walked in there. And I'm going to try to be appropriate as I can be. But this is just my story. And I hope that I can be honest. I hope that I can be truthful. I'm just going to be me. And I'm going to share what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I walked into a strip club. Pathetic. But that's what I did. And everything turned on for me. Had probably a couple $100 from stealing from my parents. And walked in there. Ordered a glass of whiskey at 17 years of age. And women lied to me. Told me how amazing I was, how great I was, how good looking I was. I got to tell them I'm a baseball player. And be somebody I totally wasn't. And I felt like, I don't know why, I just felt like I was important or somebody when I walked into that place. And then the whiskey and the drinks. And And then we would go and rob people the next day so that I could go back into the clubs and throw money around. And then I ended up in one of the finer schools called Decker Lake, if you've ever heard of Decker Lake. Okay, it's like next to prison for juveniles. You're going to prison if you're in Decker Lake. I was in and out of detention centers. I got caught for everything, and I made a bad decision. And my parents probably would have just bought me a Dallas Cowboys jacket. And I was with these guys, and I pulled a gun on somebody, and I took their jacket. And I had a public defender. And I did, at 16 years old, I went to Decker Lake, and I was there for 9 months. And it was so scary for me. I'm with thugs, I'm with gangsters, I'm with criminals, I'm with killers. And they're going to prison. I'm doing 9 months, and it felt like an eternity. I missed everything, high school football, everything. I got out, went to all my friends and said, I've had enough. I'm not chilling with you guys no more. I told them all that. And at 18 years old, I started a business, and I created an amazing business from nothing to something, and that fueled my alcoholism. And what that did for me from the age of 18 to 38 is I lived to drink. It's all egotistical. I didn't know it at the time, but I thought I would get love, respect, and people to honor me if I could pay for everything, and if I could be the number one guy in this state, if I could be the number one guy. I was so egotistical, I had to put a billboard on every exit on I-15 to make sure everybody knew I was the number one guy. I had to make sure to hit every number to beat everybody. Out of 5,000 dealers in the country, no matter what, I was going to be number one. I had to go to the Super Bowl and take my dad no matter what, because I'm going to be number one no matter what. I'm going to get every plaque, every award, and that's how I'm going to get respect from my father. My dad's going to respect me and think I'm an amazing guy because I finally built something that's absolutely amazing. And that's what I did. And during that time, I drank every 3 days, and I went to strip clubs, and I partied like an animal, like every man on planet Earth would want to do. And, well, maybe. That's just, I watched a lot of gangster movies, and I thought 2 girls, 1 on each arm, and a Rolex and an Italian suit, I'm a made man. You know, and I don't have to wait in line. I give somebody some money, and I get through the back doors. Or their club closes at 2 a.m., but Nathan's here. They're going to leave everything open because he's the most hated man in the club, is what my driver told me. But they're going to leave everything on for you, and you're going to drink like a champion. This is egotistical. It might be bothering some of you guys. I understand. When I pull up, they're going to have my own private parking. When I walk into the club, they're going to change all the music, and I am never going to wait for a drink. I sit down. There's a line. I never wait in line. They're going to bring the drink to me, and when it's 3/4 of the way empty, they're running to me to bring me a drink. They'll never ever make me wait. What a pathetic life. But that's how I lived from the age of 13 to 38 years old. There, I met my wife at the age of 21, filthy drunk. I'm still married 25 years. Here's what happened. I came into Alcoholics Anonymous at the age of 25 years old. My son was in my wife's stomach. We were pregnant. I got pregnant. I gained 40 pounds. My wife cooked, and I got fat. I knew what I was doing was wrong. And I honestly drank so much I had no game anyways to cheat. I don't even know. I had no game. If I wasn't paying or running the show or any of that stuff, I'm just a nobody. But the only reason why people were around me is because I'm buying everything. And I'm a blackout drinker. Very rarely was I able to get lucky, and I'm a married man, and get lucky. But I'm sure multiple times over that period of time, I cheated. And my son I was 25 years old, and I knew I was doing things wrong. I wanted morals. My dad had morals. My dad was the right guy. My dad had standards. He has principles. He had values. He was my hero. I could be nothing like him. I cannot be a right guy. It's everything in my soul who wants to be a good guy, but I'm really a thug, I guess a criminal. At the age of 18, I stopped that. Something happened in the strip clubs. It made me feel like a big shot. something happened with the business. It made me feel like a big shot. And I came into Alcoholics Anonymous. What happened was my dad got me here. We had yellow pages and white pages. I was 25 years old. And I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I just want to stop drinking. Never heard of Alcoholics Anonymous in my life, and my dad probably didn't either. We start going through the phone book, looking at everything. Highland Ridge Hospital popped up. I had money, started the company young, and I had no insurance. And I went to Highland Ridge Hospital at the age of 25 years old. They drugged me up, doped me up. The place has changed. It's beautiful now. But when I went there was a box TV and carpet I remember laying on for 3 days. And then I remember going to a counter, and they were giving me pills. And I don't remember anything else. I was drugged up. I was there for 3 days, 8,000 later. As soon as I left the door, somebody said this to me. Alcoholics Anonymous, 53rd and 3rd West, the Alano Club. So what did I do? The hospital that was Southern before the strip club, I ran to that strip club. I was there all day. That's all I thought about. I wanted to drink. I didn't even go there for the women. I went for the darkness, I went for the light, and I went for the whiskey. And I went for everybody to say my name, Nathan, and kiss my ass and lie to me. And I went in there, and I drank and drank and drank. And then the next day I went into the Alano Club, my Hummer, and I had no ego. My Hummer said on the license plate, status. And a guy came up to me who I've known now for 19 years, and he looked right at me and he says, you're not going to be sober very long. And he was right. But I remember this egotistical running the show prick. There was a tent outside at the Alano Club. About 50 bikers. They're having a real heart-to-heart meeting. I walk in there, move the curtains and say, excuse me for the interruption. I think I might be drinking too much. And they all laughed at me. Just like that. And I didn't know what that meant. I do today. But I ran out of there, left my car in the parking lot, that my ego, worth more than anybody else's car in the parking lot, ran to the strip club and started drinking all over again. And that's when my journey started in Alcoholics Anonymous. And for 13 years, I was going in and out of the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, picking up a 30-day chip, a 60-day chip, a 90-day chip. I could not stay stopped. For 13 years, my wife looked at me one day and said, why can't you just stay stopped, Nathan? And I was laying in bed and I said, I don't know. She goes, Nathan, you can do anything you put your mind to. You have proven it. Why can't you stop drinking? And I didn't have the answer because there's guys in here that I'm looking at right now. My first sponsor, Ben, 2 years he stayed with me. And he let me go in a gentle way. But I would get 30 days and mean it like I'm not going to drink. And then I would look at the neon lights and then I'd toss that chip away. Now here I am, December 5th of 2018. So 8 months prior, I was coming in, trying to stay stopped. I didn't know my father was leaving at all. And I found this group called Every Night Firelight. I hated it. Old man Byron was there. He's passed away. It was very structured, routine, and disciplined. Nothing I've ever seen before. I have about 10 books filled of Teresa and Jeff and all these great people. And I went there every day for 2 years because my start time's about 9 o'clock when I'm going to go drinking. That's when I start. Every 3 days. And I walked into Alcoholics Anonymous and I finally got a sponsor. And this guy, what's really weird is I knew him 20 years ago. He came and put a fence on. I didn't even remember until we started talking. And I have nothing in common with him, I thought, but I wanted to stop drinking. It's the sole purpose of me coming into Alcoholics Anonymous. No service, didn't know that was here. No fellowship, didn't know that was here. No love, light, or joy. My higher power made it very clear during those 13 years. You're cheating. You're lying. You're disrespecting your family. You are not going to get what Alcoholics Anonymous has. You're not going to feel love, light, or joy. You're not going to hear, see, or listen to the message because every 3 days you're going and spending your hard-earned money, robbing your family from your money and throwing it down at the clubs. And you're gambling like a lunatic. That was part of my story too. You don't get what Alcoholics Anonymous has. And I found this sponsor, long hair, always, if he's in here, forgive me. I love you, but I don't think you are. But a great guy. Always Anyways, great guy. I thought I had nothing in common, and I have everything in common with that guy. And so he said, Nathan, I walked right up to him and I had to ask. I had to say, for the first time in my life, I asked for help. My dad taught me never ask for help. Nathan, if you want something bad in life, you go get it. Nathan, you never surrender in life. Nathan, and my dad, I believed everything he had to say because, listen, if you weren't bringing me a number or doing an install for me, you had nothing I wanted. Don't even talk to me. That's where my mind went. My business became my higher power and my number one before anything. I know that's sick. But if my dad is the man that I honored and respected and couldn't live like him. And this sponsor said, Nathan, I said, hey, can you help me stop drinking? And he says this, Nathan, I want you to meet me once a week. We're going to go out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous in the 12 and 12. I want you to call me once a day. You're sicker than others, you're going to call me twice a day. And I said, okay. And he goes, are you an alcoholic? And I said, yes. I can't stop on one. And he said, are you willing to go to any lengths to stay stopped from alcoholism? I said, yes. And I didn't even know what I was signing up for. I said yes to the man. And he called me out later on in the program. Okay? So here's what happened. He took me through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's what we did. And all of a sudden, I don't have a sponsor for about 8 months. And I'm going nuts. I'm going to drink again. I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to go into a bar again. Because that's what I'm used to. That's my lifestyle. It's who I am. It's what I am. I went into a meeting just like this and I told myself I'm going to go drink again. I'm going to go to a strip club. I'm going to go gamble. By the way, my first sponsor had me do a step 1 on gambling. And I haven't gambled but one time, and I just did that 3 weeks ago. $1,000, it was nothing. But I didn't like it. I lost every hand in a row. My higher power made that clear. But I haven't gambled in 5 years the way I used to gamble, where you can't even see a flop for $3,000. And stupid. But I haven't. That gambling went away as well. Going into the bars went away. The strip clubs went away. But then I met this sponsor. I heard this man, Grateful Grant. He's out of state now, and everybody says get a sponsor, but I heard Grateful Grant. He said get a sponsor. So for 8 months, I was sitting on this table at the Alano Club. I was going nuts. And finally, I went up to this old man, and I said, hey, or seasoned veteran is what some of the guys say for me to say. And I said, hey, can you sponsor me? And he looked at me kind of crazy, and he said, yeah, be at my house. And I think we're going to go back to step 1. And we went to step 5. First day I met him. So there's 3 people on planet Earth that know everything about me. My first sponsor, my wife. Why? 2012. We went to war. I remember walking into my business. It was the time of my life. I didn't have my son, my daughter, my wife. And I'm a dad, and I'm not waking up to my son or my daughter. Everything in the world to me is my son and my daughter. And my wife held on to this restraining order. She's tough. Made sure that she did not call me, did not talk to me. Everything she can to have the courts go to war and take me out. And that was a war. But she ended up saying, let's meet at a park and just tell me everything. So I told her everything. Everything that I would with the sponsor. I had nothing to lose, and I didn't even know I was doing a 5th step. And I kind of jumped way back, but I get this sponsor, and it's a second sponsor, and he says, Nathan, after we did our 5th step, he had me go make an amends, a financial amends. Let me tell you something. In 2018, I sold my satellite company for peanuts compared to what it did. And I was doing 6 meetings a day for 2 years straight. And I'm a worker, and that's all I knew. and now I'm trying to stay stopped. I knew that business was dying since 2012. I just was scared to death to get out of it because it's all I've ever done since the age of 15 years old. And here I am in Alcoholics Anonymous. And now I own a construction company, and I barely even know how to use this. But matter of fact, I don't use it because it cuts me. I just rather than not even pull it out. My guys actually take it away from me and say, "Let me do that, Nathan." Okay. And I was doing it unlicensed and uninsured, looking through the rearview mirror. My sponsor had me go down to the HBA. I didn't think I was going to pass the test. He knew I was going to. I fell everything. I was the kid that walked out of school. And I got licensed and I got insured and bonded and started doing things the right way in my business. My taxes 2 years in a row because of a sponsor. Paid my taxes legitimately and was very proud of that. Very proud of that. But my sponsor that I have today says, "Nathan, we're going to work on you being a right guy." I didn't know what that was. And I'm going to sum it up with this. After 2 weeks of knowing this man, and I'm in a different position. I'm in a different position in life, money-wise, for the first time in my life. And it was nothing. It was nothing. But I didn't know how I was going to take care of my family the next month. And my sponsor says, "You're going to go and you're going to make this right with this person." I said, "Well, what I want to do is wait till I have an envelope and give it to him." And he goes, "No, Nathan, you're going to go do this amends before you have the envelope." And so I went there. I knocked on the door. Said, I'm Nathan. Because I know who you are. And I said, "This is what I did. How can I make it right?" Most powerful words in Alcoholics Anonymous. And he says, "Come inside." And everything I thought that was going to happen didn't happen. For 1 hour, he told me how he was going to take his life about 2 weeks ago. And he cried, I cried. I told him my situation that I'm in. I told him my story. I didn't tell him anything about AA. I didn't even say I was an alcoholic. And 90 days later, that man was paid in full. Never missed a payment. And I didn't see it then, but I got rewards. Now imagine wanting to go cheat on your wife, or go drinking during recovery, or go gamble during recovery, over and over again. But my sponsor, this man, has taught me tools to say things like, my sponsor said, "Don't swear in this meeting." And so I said, "Okay." But he says, "You tell that voice, get the F away from me." And so I've done things like that. He's also asked me to beg my higher power to take away these character defects. This was hard for me. Alcoholics Anonymous brought me to a power greater than myself and a constant relationship in my life. And it's the most important relationship I've ever made in my life because I don't drink. I couldn't stop drinking for me, my wife, my son, my daughter. And I'm not a crier and I'm not about to cry, so I'll just suck those right up. And that's not ego. You'd think that's probably what regular men do. Or maybe they don't. Just don't cheat. Just don't drink. Just don't gamble. The book says I'm selfish and self-centered and I love instant gratification. And that's the truth. And you know what? Here's what's happened to me when I was going to go cheat. I would have been cheating my higher power. I would have been cheating myself. I would be blocked from you and I would no longer have the gifts that Alcoholics Anonymous provides. The book says on page 70, continue to act out on your character defects. And the book says that you'll probably drink again. Maybe a little bit different, but I'm not a saint. But in Alcoholics Anonymous, multiple years in a row, I haven't cheated on my wife. Multiple years in a row, I haven't gambled. Except for the one time in Vegas for less than an hour, my wife was there. And I have been into a strip club without the drink, and boy, does it suck. And if you're not throwing around money, you're a nobody. I remember calling my driver. Byron was here. I was 18 months. Jeff was here. I had a bill full of money, $7,000 or $8,000. I was going to go out for the night. That's what I do. And I walked into Every Night Firelight. Jeff was there. I pulled out a bill full of money and said, I'm going to go play some cards and I'm going to go to the strip club. I don't know. I just listened to the meeting and I went. And I went down to the strip club and I called my driver who hasn't worked for me for 18 months and he worked for me for 7 years. Coolest job in the world. 3 days a week, drive me around, gamble, watch me make a fool of myself, spend a ton of money. And I called him up and I'm in the parking lot. I'm 18 months sober. I'm going out. Can't do it. Have y'all been there? Can't do it. I cannot do this for even a second longer. I call up my driver. I can't pray. I can't call my sponsor. I can't call another alcoholic. I'm going out. So I call my driver and I said, hey, buddy, you're no longer on the payroll. I want to ask you, man to man, a serious question. You asked me for a raise a couple years ago. I gave it to you. Now that you're no longer on the payroll, what am I really like when I walk into the bars and the clubs? Well, everything that I just told you about, all that VIP bullshit, fake shit, he said, Nathan, you get all of that. They fill your booth up. They fill your drinks up. You never wait in line. They change the music. They pretend to like you. But you're the most hated man in every single club and bar in this town. But you pay them all. And I really need to work, Nathan. I haven't worked in a long time and I need some money. Can I come out with you tonight? I'll come get you right now. And I hung up on him and I went back to Byron. It was midnight. He was still there at Every Night Firelight. I mean, I'm whacked out of my mind. And he pulled out the book and he grabbed it's the Dr. Bob's Nightmare. And we read that together. And Dr. Bob had the obsession for 18 months as well. That was a relief to know that somebody else had that obsession like me every single day. It was cool. I'm just kind of telling you guys my journey. And here I am, one day at a time, a little over 4 years of recovery. I'm learning how to be a right guy. I'm learning how to not drink one day at a time and live life without a drink. I'm learning how to not cheat and be an honorable man to my wife, even if I haven't had sex in a long time. I could easily go and have a drink and break the rules. I could easily, and I can't do it for my wife, I'm doing this for me. I can easily go get a woman and break the rules. I could go easily pick up some cards and throw down some money. But today I choose not to, one day at a time, because I will lose value and honor and integrity that I've never had before until Alcoholics Anonymous. The last place. I can't even believe I'm here. And I question my higher power a lot. Why am I here in Alcoholics Anonymous? And it's given me so much. It's given me so much. A fellowship. I thought I was better then. I didn't want nothing you guys had. Years later, some people get it quickly, some slowly. Years later, I finally, for the first time in my life, had a group of men in my life that are the most important men besides my son on planet Earth. I have men in my life today that were just like me. Thugs, gangsters, cheaters, criminals, drinkers, destroyed their families, hurt everyone around them. And the men that I surround with today in Alcoholics Anonymous, they don't cheat on their wives. They don't gamble. They don't drink. And they had to do that one day at a time like me. And I respect that. That's so damn honorable. And so I have a fellowship today. I never had a fellowship before. I learned how to serve in here. I learned how to serve in here without getting $1, or like the movies, I have to bring the news here. If I'm like Goodfellas handing out turkeys downtown, I would want the news, I want billboards and media. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, we serve for free and for fun. And it started out at me being a door greeter for 4 weeks at the club and 4 weeks up top. My sponsor was 20 moves ahead of me. He knew what he was doing. I was meeting and greeting people, getting out of my comfort zone. These are things that you guys have probably all heard of. But for me, my miracle is little things like one time I was driving down Wasatch Boulevard and I saw a sunset. I probably wanted to cheat or gamble the night before. And I got to see a sunset in colors and time paused. And my God said, here you go, Nathan. I never saw that before. I didn't cheat the night before and I got that. I've had men stay with me on the phone until I go into my garage and they shut the garage behind me so I don't go out one more time. I've had to embarrass myself like I'm now doing here, telling you my story. I'm not that embarrassed, actually. It is what it is. But I've had to come into rooms and I've had to say what I'm about to do. Not looking for help. I don't want it. I want to respect, like my sponsor, before I go out. And I want to tell him that I'm about to go out. I don't want to call him after the fact. I've had to go to my sponsor's house every Thursday for a couple of years now with a group of men. And these guys show me how to live without a drink. We read the big book. We read A New Pair of Glasses. We read Living Sober. And they show me how to live. They show me how to treat a woman. My sponsor has me buy flowers for my wife for 2 years, not looking for a payoff. That's weird. And that's what I did. My sponsor had me hold my wife's hand. We don't do that. And so I would make a goal to hold her hand until we got into the store. If I made it to the door, I've done a good job. My sponsor told me to practice the master the silver tongue, the unsaid word. When my wife is being snappy, keep my mouth shut. Or promptly admit when I'm wrong. There I go again. I can't communicate, honey. You know? My sponsor has asked me for a tall order, and I just learned this 3 weeks ago. He said, Nathan, you're going to make an amends to your wife. I thought I was making a living and amends to my wife. I'm not cheating, I'm not gambling, I'm not drinking. I'm not sure how that looks, but I will definitely do what he's asked me to do. And I hope I can be honest and real and do it the way that my higher power would have me do it. She already knows everything about me. But he wants me to verbally say this. I didn't know that until just a few weeks ago. I worked with men since 90 days of being sober, the blind leading the blind. It's kept me in the book. It's allowed me to start living the steps. It's allowed me to see that I'm nobody different. You're just a drunk, I'm just a drunk. We did the same things, maybe in a different way. And it's allowed me to work with a lot of guys. It's allowed me to constantly learn the program, constantly be in the program, constantly be in the steps, constantly live this program. And when I'm in doubt, I get a message from Ben saying, you're going to speak here at this meeting. And here I am. The most important thing on my schedule today is to be here in this meeting. And I don't want to bore you guys anymore, but I've been sober for over 4 years. And for 13 years, when you guys would say, if you have a year or more sobriety, please raise your hand, and I couldn't do it, and I could do anything, I started to feel a little hopeless. Because putting guns to my head or not wanting to wake up, that couldn't even stop me. Losing my wife couldn't even stop me. Nothing could stop me. Something so much bigger has come into my life to do the impossible, to take the drink, the cheat, and the gamble away from me. To work with others for free and for fun. To serve when I'm asked to serve. So I just hope I can stay here. Just 2 weeks ago, I wanted to drink again. I wanted to go play again. I wanted to go fill my body with instant gratification in every possible imagine that you can think of. And some old-timer stayed with me on the Zoom meeting for an hour, and we just laughed. And I woke up in the morning and said, thank you, God. I never believed you guys when you said this too shall pass until I was able to bear witness it for myself and stay here to tell you guys that I didn't drink or I didn't cheat or I didn't gamble. Because I always did those things no matter what. I always acted out. And today I don't. I don't live that way today. And that's because of Alcoholics Anonymous. And you know what? I'm very proud of that. I'm not, work is fifth on the list now. I wake up, I do my third, I do my daily, and I talk to 5 or 6 alcoholics a day, and I go to 2 meetings a day still. Not too busy for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm busy, but I need to make sure that my Alcoholics Anonymous comes first, no matter what. And I hope I can have that momentum, even when I don't want that momentum, which is quite a bit. And I'll close with, If you're thinking about going out, and you want to go out, and you always go out because that's what you do, please come back to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and tell us how you didn't go out when you wanted to go out. A lot of us already know how to go back out, but how did you stay? How did you not act on a character defect? How did you not drink? Anyways, I hope to stay soft, and with that, I'll take another 24. Thank you, Ben.